Hi there, this is Luise Heinzel. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to create the quickest belly band in the world. I have here a piece of paper which has the height of my journal and a width that I like. Please choose the size for your belly band that you like and that fits into your journal. And I also have some circles here, as you can see, which I want to use to decorate my belly band later. This is a new ephemera pack, which you can find in my Etsy shop. This is called ARTSY circles. As you can see, in this ephemera pack, you get many circles. Some are more colorful, like these, for example. But there are also some that are more neutral. Some are more concrete, like this one here, for example. And some are more like abstract, so that you have a really big variety. I thought it would be good to have various different sizes so that you can mix and match them. And I have printed these out and left them without cutting them so that you can see that you have many possibilities with these circles. You don't have to cut them out. You could also use parts of such a sheet just as this is when it comes out of your printer. You could, for example, just cut a piece off here and then leave the white space. If that fits into your journal, that would be a nice thing. Just cut it off, glue it down, ready to go. Or you could also color those white areas here with some paints or some markers or something like that. You could also cut, for example, squares to have 9 of those circles there on the piece. Then you can make a pocket out of that or a tuck spot or whatever. So there's no need to cut them out. But for my project, I need them, you know, like separated from the rest of the sheet. First, I want to create a background for my belly band, and for that I'm going to use some of the Distress Paints by Ranger. The colors that I'm using today come from the Back from the Fault collection. Perhaps you have already heard about that. Ranger has retired some of the Distress Paint colors a few years ago, and now 20 colors came back, and that's the so-called Back from the Fault collection. Yeah. Speaking and trying to decide which colors I want to use is not so easy. I think I want to use some forest moss as well. I'm so happy that this color came back. You know, forest moss is my absolute favorite color. I think this is a good variety. We have pumice stone, brushed corduroy, gathered twigs, and forest moss here. So let's try that. I have my jelly plate here. And I'm going to put the paints here, only a tiny little bit of each color. I'm going to put them here next to each other in a row. If you want to know more about those colors, Back from the Fault, you can visit the website of Tim Holtz. He has a lot of information about those colors there, and you can also find swatches of the colors there. And if you want to purchase them somewhere, you can find different options in different shops. Some shops sell the whole bundle of 20. Then there are also smaller packs with those like color families. Or there are also shops that sell them separately. I think Simon Says Stamp also sells them separately so that you can look for what you need. I know some of you don't need all of the 20 colors, so, you know, I just wanted to mention that. And what you also can get, and that is something that I really like, is such a tin. This is the multi-storage tin. You can see that is a very high tin, so that the paints can go in here. When you get this, you get this little thing here, so that you can put the paints in here, and all of the 20 paints that came back from the fault fit into this storage tin. So this is made to store all of the 20 colors. You get also another of these things. So this you can remove. There's also a second of these when you purchase this with smaller, I don't know how this is called, you know, smaller of these holes where you can also store your re-inkers. So that is a really cool thing. Just wanted to let you know about that. Now back to our colors here. I'm going to take a brayer and I'm just going over the color here, and as you can see, I don't mix them. I want to have these lines here, but the goal is to blend the colors on the brayer to get a really nice effect here later. As you can see here, between these colors, there's already a nice blend, and here also, but here's this little like line. The trick is to roll, lift the brayer up, put it back down, and so on. You can also do it like so, but lift the brayer, and I like to move it a tiny little bit to the left and the right, but not too much. I don't want to have a mixture of all of the colors, yeah, but only a tiny little bit to the left and the right while I'm going up and down, and then you get a really, really nice blending. And when that looks like so, then you can just roll that over your paper. I like to put my paper into an angle because then it's easier for me to do, but you can of course try that out and find out how it's handy for you. Here it's a little bit too white for me, so I am going to take a little bit more of the color. Just go over this, and what you also can do is, do I want that? Let's try it. You can turn the paper around, and then let's go over it here so that only a tiny bit of forest moss goes to the right here, like so. Ooh, that's great. That is totally great. And of course you could fill up the whole paper with the color, but I also like when you can see that it is brayered, meaning when you can see a bit of this white here. And on my circles that I want to put here later, there's also a bit of white, so I think that fits really nice. Now I'm going to take a little bit of water because I don't want to waste this paint here. And at the same time, I know that I want to have some splatters. And I'm going to mix all of this stuff here together to get a really neutral color. I mean, when I mix this, this becomes a color that will match here, of course. But because of the water, it's very liquid. It comes out relatively light later, and it's a cool effect for the background. And especially here on those lighter areas, it looks really nice. There where the forest moss is, here where it's darker, will probably be not so visible in the end, but that's fine, so that we have an interesting background and that this whole thing looks not so boring. And now you can decide if you want to dry that completely or if you want to dry it only a little bit and then do a really cool trick. I want to try that here, and I have to mention this is photo paper that I've used here. This was just a piece of paper that was laying around here from another project, so I thought, why not use that, what I have at hand. If you use, for example, watercolor paper or like a more like watercolor paper, which is made for wet mediums, or a mixed media paper, for example, then you can also get really cool effects by using water on the paint while the paint is still wet. When the paint is wet and you spritz water, you get really cool effects, nearly like with the distress inks. Yeah, that is really cool. But I just wanted to explain why that will not happen on my paper here, because I've used photo paper and the paint soaks in there very fast and it dries very fast, and the effect with the water doesn't work on this paper, but you could make it work with another paper. But what works is this effect. When you dry your splatters not completely, and then go over it with a paper towel, you can see you get those really, really cool effects here. And you get really nice outlines around those splatters. Some of the tinier ones look like normal splatters because they dry faster, of course. And depending on how long you go over this with your heat gun, of course, the effect is, it can vary a little bit, of course. So just experiment and try that out. Okay, so next, let's decide which circles we want to put here. I thought I want to go with 3 circles in total, 1 in the middle and 2 smaller ones on the top and the bottom. I'm just thinking, do I like this in this neutral color palette, or, I mean, that looks great with, especially with the forest moss, or do I want to have it like really artsy and colorful? You could also, of course, use the same size of circles. This would also be really nice, I think. But I think in this case, I want to go with the more neutral ones, and that's just a personal reason, I would say, because I've already recorded my German video, and there I've used the more colorful circles, and I have the feeling that I want to do something different now for this video. But of course, please do it like you like it and like you want it. And if you want to see the other version, you can watch the German video, of course, as well. What do we think about this? I think I like that really much, but I want to change these like so, because this one is really dark here, and I think that looks better when this is on the bottom of the belly band, so that this whole thing gets like a ground or something. So next, I'm going to take these circles and I'm going to glue them down. You could measure this to be able to, you know, have the same distance and so on, but I'm eyeballing that because I'm a junk journaler. And I don't want to freak my freak. So I'm just eyeballing that, but of course you could take out your ruler and measure that very exactly. And of course you can also vary the distance here and here in between of the circles. I really like that, when that is not too regular. And now I will take this and go to my sewing machine to sew around here a little bit like crazy. I like sewing and I like sewn elements in my junk journals, but of course, if you don't have a sewing machine, this whole thing would work without a sewing machine as well. If you want to have a similar effect, which you will see in a second here on my belly band, you could also take a pen and just imitate a sewing just by scribbling around, or you could also leave this step out. Okay, so here we go. Then this looks like this. As I said, I'm going to sew around here like crazy, and that's exactly what I have done. What I'm trying to say is, the faster you sew those circles, the more abstract they get, of course, and the more loose they get. You don't have so much control about them, but that's what I like, because then you can get those really abstract results. If you don't like that, just sew slower and you get a more like regular result. I have chosen this page to put my belly band on. I think this page is perfect because here on the right there's also some kind of forest moss color, even if this is a print. This comes from my Crafty Critters printable, this whole page here. But I think that looks really nice, and especially with those purple flowers and the purple here, this is Villainous Potion Oxide ink. That looks really nice. I think Forest Moss and Villainous Potion is just an amazing combination. So I want to put this here, and also with the white here, I think with this braille paper here in the background, which is also white, not totally white, but white. Do you know what I mean? That looks really nice. And ooh, we also have this fluffy thingy here, on the top, which comes from this tag here, and the tag is in this position, so this fluffy thingy is always in this position as well. Perhaps we can also consider, like, you know, making this like part of the belly band, and let's make like a little optical illusion. So first I thought I wanted to put the belly band to the middle of my page, but then this wouldn't work, this illusion. So perhaps we can do it like this. Then we have also this sewing here, which can be like part of the arrangement. I like that. Yeah, that's what I want to do. So I take this and I'm going to take some strong glue. This is bookbinder's glue. And I will put that to the top here and to the bottom. And then I'm going to just glue this down here. I want to use some butterflies to decorate this. I'm just trying to decide how I want to do that. Normally, I would probably take them and put them to the middle of the circle like so, just in a row. I mean, 3 butterflies in a row are always a great idea. Butterflies solve every problem, by the way. But in this case, I want them like so, to be able to see more of those circles here in the background. So I think I like it like this, and now I want to give them some feelers, and for that I think I'm going to use these. These are like forest moss, I would say. That fits really well. And if you are searching for some butterflies, I mean, you can never have enough butterflies, then you can find digital ephemera packs in my Etsy shop. And I say packs because I have several different items with different butterflies in different colors. So if you want to check that out, I will put the link down below in the description box. I also want to use some additional thread below each of the butterflies, just to make this a little bit more whimsical and interesting. Just like this. Is that too much? No. So I'm just going to put some glue here to be able to hold this thread in place for a moment. Then I'm taking my butterfly, put some glue here to the back, take my feelers, position them there, and then you can also bring the feelers into the position where you want to have them. So let's do that for the others as well. Okay, so and then I want to add some splatters. I've decided for white splatters because I think that fits here really nice. And perhaps we could also add some black splatters. So here I show you this a little bit closer so that you can see all of the details. I'm really happy with how this turned out. If you want to check out the digital items that I have used to create this, the ARTSY circles and the butterflies, as I said, you can find the links down below in the description box. And I hope you have fun with creating your own belly band. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, and if you want to share your own results, of course, you can do that on social media, and I would be really happy if you tag me in some way at Luise Heinzel. You can also use my hashtag JunkJournalArt mit Luise Heinzel. You can see that here written in the screen so that I can find your posts easier. I would love if we can inspire each other a little bit, and I would love if we would see the next time as well. Have a very great and creative day. Bye bye.